So, how's everybody in the ground feeling this afternoon?
All right. Well, we've got the Saddle Bronc Riders and the Team Ropers over on our left side doing a autograph signing, and we're about to start our show today here,
Hopefully
Waze.
there's no mid-show dance parties like
Gotta
yesterday.
skip back a sec here. We got a little hot in the monitor. It's a little loud. We're good now. Okay. Here we are.
Here we are. Day number 2, CFR 48. We're thriving.
We are.
I'm tired.
You're
Haven't
tired?
slept much.
How come?
I just haven't slept much the last couple of days, but that's just part of it. And yeah, getting ready for another exciting Perf of Rodeo tonight.
Going to be a good one. Round number 2.
Round number 2.
All right.
We got some cool guests here.
Yeah, we do.
Some
So
friends.
For those that don't know us, my name's Ted Sylvan. He's Wasey Anderson. Wasey's doing the social media here at the CFR this year as a business in the social media / rodeo world.
Business. Big business.
And I'm doing the buckle presentations later on in the evening as well with our friend Darby Crouch.
And we got the Cowboy Sh watch party. We can't keep forgetting
Yes.
to mention that. That's a big thing.
Yes.
So if you're looking for something to do before the rodeo, head over to the watch party and hang out there. Have some beers. Get primed up for a sweet performance of CFR 48.
You betcha. So let's get to our guests this afternoon. Hey, Waze.
I think without further ado,
We've got a really big show coming up here today.
we've got some heavy hitters.
Really big show.
Really big show.
All
For
right.
the big crowd.
Who should we do first? He's a 3-time Canadian champion bull rider, winning the Canadian Pro Rodeo title in 2014 and 2015. In 2020, he'd been the PBR Canada champion. In 2022, took the win at the Calgary Stampede.
Dang.
He's now from Etonia, Saskatchewan. Please welcome Dakota Butter.
I can't believe. He just got married too. And it's almost his birthday.
When is Dakota's birthday?
Sunday.
Sunday?
Sunday.
Hey, that's neat. Thanks for joining us, Dakota.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. We had you on the show. It was quite a while ago now. Back, weren't you like number 38 or something?
You were
a
going
long ways
hard
ago.
down in the U.S., so.
Yeah, I was in Chicago that week when we did it.
Just gotta hold the
Can't
mic a
remember
little
year.
closer.
I was in Chicago that week. I can't remember what year that was. 18 maybe?
Quite a while ago now.
17, 18 probably, somewhere in that run. You were, didn't you? Yeah, I don't know. It was a while back.
Long
Anyway,
overdue.
return.
Long overdue to the return. But okay, let's get to our next guest.
Okay. Well, our next guest is a 2-time average winner at the CFR.
Twice
And
he was average at the Canadian
Twice
Finals.
he was average. He rode the bull a little bit better than most folks at the CFR. Twice. And now he's back as a bullfighter, which is kind of
Yeah.
crazy to most folks.
2015 PBR Canada champion.
Oh, yeah.
4 times he went to the PBR World Finals.
What hasn't this guy done?
He's got the best finish ever by a Canadian in the PBR World Standings.
He's really tall.
From Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, Tanner Byrne.
Woo. Yeah. The crowd goes wild.
The crowd is slowly assembling, though, too, Tanner.
Kind of.
The show is it's increasing in volume right now.
Well,
Thanks
Tanner's
for joining us,
probably got the nicest jacket on in all of Red Deer today.
Maybe all of Alberta.
Thanks.
Is it warm?
Yeah, it's pretty warm. Yeah, it's more style though than warm.
Do you have trouble like bending your arms?
Yeah, it's not made to bend.
You were telling us that you spent your show-up check for the World Finals to buy this jacket one time, but it was worth it, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was falling off a bunch of bulls and decided to head to Gianni Varvito's there at Caesar's Palace and got me a new jacket. So I figured, what better time than CFR 48 to bust it out again?
How often do you get to wear that jacket?
This is probably the second time.
Second time ever, or the second time this year?
Yeah, second time ever probably.
Hey, good time to bust it out.
Why not? Look good, feel good, do good.
That's right.
Feel good, do good.
Okay, our third guest this afternoon. It's kind of the bull riding, bull raising kind of bull. It's a bull show today.
When you think of bull riding, you think of this guy.
Yeah.
Or
He's-
bull fighting.
5 times now he's been a bullfighter here at the Canadian Finals Rodeo. 6 times PBR Canada Finals. Been raising bucking bulls for all his life.
Some of the best ones we've had, too.
Yeah, absolutely. He's from Strathmore, Alberta. It's Ty Prescott.
Woohoo. Is he gone? Hasn't even started yet.
Don't have a dart.
Quick
So-
dirty.
Ty, we've been talking about this for a while. We've been wanting to do a show for a long time, but got you on here today, so thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
And our crew from Strathmore is just rolling in here too. We got Steph, Donnie, And Daryl coming to watch along. Big fans from Strathmore. They heard you were coming, so had to come check it out.
You're a hometown hero in Strathmore.
No, I wouldn't go that far.
Go ahead, Wace.
Well, you got a couple bruises on your face there. Talk a bit about the perf last night and how things went from your end. It was one of your first perfs back from breaking your leg too.
Yeah, tore my knee up in July and then broke my leg 5 weeks ago to the day yesterday. And, yeah, but last night Todd got on that state law and he went out there his ways and that's what we do. You got to kind of get in between and had to take a shot and he kind of just drove my head into the dirt. So.
It's been a rough year on you that way, though, for injuries, hasn't it, Ty? You couldn't get it quite right with between the. I don't know. I don't even know what all happened, but you got beat up a bunch, and then the one wasn't even at a rodeo. You were doing the stunt work and got hurt that way.
Yeah, that was a stunt for Heartland, little TV series. I had to get on a horse that was supposed to buck a little bit, and he didn't buck as hard as he was supposed to. He just took off running, and then I had to get off him and slide out the back end, and kind of came off. A little weird and jammed my leg and snapped my fibula. So,
ouch.
And that was what, 4 weeks ago?
5 weeks ago yesterday.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dang. How's it feeling?
Yeah.
It's still a little sore and tender, but doesn't feel too bad.
They weren't easy on you guys last night. The bullfighters were working. You guys were putting a show on there.
Yeah, that's what we're supposed to do, I guess.
Tanner, you had one last week in Saskatoon too. Talk about that one a little bit. Kind of was a bit of a shot too.
Let's not bring that up, Ted.
Okay, all right.
But yes, no, it's that's part of the game. As Ty said, like our job obviously is to take care of these guys. So sometimes, it's kind of away from the scene or whatever it might be, and we know these animals. We know which way they're going to go, how it's going to move, and sometimes, yeah, they get us right. But if somebody's going to take a shot, it's us, not these bull riders. So there's ups and downs within it, and sometimes you just got to take those hits.
It wasn't your own bull, was it?
No, that one wasn't. I have taken some from my own bulls, which is obviously a little bit odd when you go and feed them the next day. And
it's like, hey man,
yeah, come on, man.
how much has your experience bull riding helped with transitioning over to the bullfighting side of things?
Yeah, my transition was one of those deals. No, it was. I think it helps a lot due to the fact that I just kind of I know bull riding, right? That's all I've ever really known is bull riding, rodeo in general since I was a little kid. So the bull riding side of things, I think it helps me with knowing, just like the hip movements, even where the bull riders, if their hips are a little bit out, I kind of understand where that next jump is going to go. So I think just knowing the bulls, knowing bull riding. Doing this my whole life, I think it's helped me to be where I'm at now in the bullfighting side of things. And a lot of people were kind of thinking that I just jumped into this bullfighting game on a whim, and I've done it my whole life, right? Like practice pens. I knew bullfighting before I knew bull riding. With my dad went to the NFR and different stuff like that. So I grew up watching bullfighting tapes. I didn't grow up watching bull riding tapes. So. Bullfighting has been really what I've known, and everybody else in my family are bullfighters, and that's all we ever really watched and did and practiced. And I was the oddball when I was riding, so I stuck with it. Obviously, having success as a bull rider, so stuck with it. But no, it's cool. I always knew I was going to be a bullfighter, and it's just cool now to be able to come back to the biggest stages and do it at the highest level.
Well, and Ty, how from your perspective, how has it been working with Tanner since he moved over to the bullfighting side of things?
Oh, it's pretty fun. Tanner's kind of a little bit of a goofball out there, so it keeps a smile on your face, and you're always laughing, but at the end of the day, you're still really serious about your job. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's me and Tanner grew up together and traveled together when I rode bulls a little bit, so yeah, it was a nice change. Yeah. You're a pretty decent guy most of the time.
Tanner, I don't know what we lost Ty Posabon, and was that part of the reason why you got out of the bull riding side of things? Is that part of it? I don't know if we've really had this conversation or if I remember what really happened, but was that part of what made him make the move, or what was it?
Not really. No, in a sense, maybe. I guess for a while I was just mad at bull riding and rodeo and life in general, right? When you lose somebody that close to you, nothing really makes sense to you, right? So, no, in reality of it, I always had this plan. I was always going to be a bullfighter after I was done bull riding, and I was still at the highest level. I was still on tour when I quit riding bulls, and concussions, I guess, was one factor of it. I got knocked out a few times that year. The last bull I got on knocked me smooth out. So I think, in a sense, I was done. And just knowing, though, in the back of my mind that I always wanted to do this bullfighting side of things, I knew that if I didn't do it at the point that I was at, I would never do it. Right? I'd get too old, and I still wanted to be in top physical condition. I still wanted to be the best bullfighter I could be. And if I waited any longer, I knew that I couldn't do that. So, there was a lot of moving parts, a lot of my wife having to deal with me, trying to figure out what I was doing. So hats off to her, obviously, and my whole family for sticking by me through everything. But, I guess it was just one of those deals in life. You know, Ted, same thing with you, switching over after riding bulls and now doing all this media stuff, and anybody else that kind of makes a career change. It's hard, and there's a lot of things that go into it. But for me, I always had this plan, and I'm just very grateful that it's working out the way that it is.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, so for Dakota, you're currently riding bulls. Is your transition to stock contractor like these other two guys too someday, or what's your plan? Are you going to go be an accountant finally? You got your accountant school side that way, but what would be your plan after the bull riding side of things?
I gave up on the accountant thing. But,
Oh, really?
I don't blame you.
I never even knew you were an accountant.
Yeah,
well, I'm not. I didn't get that far, but yeah, I want to stay involved with it somehow when I'm done. I got a handful of bulls at home, and I'm hoping by the time I'm done riding to have a decent pen, good enough where I can keep going to these with them. So that's my plan to transition out of.
Well, we were talking backstage. This has been almost 6 years since your last CFR, and you're kind of coming into it now as one of the older guys in the crew. Talk a bit about how that has changed since your first CFR.
Yeah, I am the old guy here. It's kind of a bit of an eye opener. There's been lots of injuries the last couple of years that have made it hard on a guy, but it's fun seeing the young guys coming up and knowing I was that guy 10 years ago. It's fun watching them guys progress and turn into bull riders they are. And, all three of us here grew up together. We went through all the ranks from steer riding, junior bull riding, amateurs to where we are here. So that's pretty cool too. So we're all pretty tight. Things have changed quite a bit in the last 10 years, but I think it's for the better.
What's the biggest difference this time compared to, was it 13 was your first year? What was your first CFR? Was it 14 when you won it?
2012, I think, was my first year.
12, okay. And that was 2012. Well, I guess 2010 goes back to, was that the year was your first one, 2011, 10, or what was that?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think it was 2011 was my first one. And
Okay.
Yeah, I think so, right? I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. So what's the biggest change from then to now?
Well, we're in Red Deer now.
That's true.
I don't
Number
know.
1, Red Deer. Number 2.
Really, other than that, not a whole bunch. I'm the old guy now. I'm not the young guy, but
You
bull
ain't
riding's
even
all the
that
same.
old.
What's that?
You're not even that old.
I'm old enough.
I'm older than you.
My hip tells me otherwise.
My legs tell me otherwise.
But yeah, I don't bull riding's still the same. It's just different guys, and that's the biggest thing for me. I'm not looking up to the older guys now. I'm trying to
They're looking up to you, man.
exactly. So I'm trying to keep that positive mindset because we're getting smaller numbers every year. We got to try to keep this fun for everybody, keep getting more interest in it. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Well, you mentioned the injuries for over the past couple of years. Talk a bit about that and how challenging it's been to kind of get back to the level you can ride at.
Last year was the worst mental injury I've ever experienced. I've been pretty lucky injury-wise. I've never really had anything where I've had to sit out before. And tearing my groin last year, that was probably the most mentally damaging one I've had.
Mm-hmm.
Coming back, I had absolutely no confidence because I was focused on that the entire time. And I came back and I got hurt again because I was focused on that. And it took a couple months to get over that. So my mind wasn't focused on what I had to do. I was focused on my groin hurting. And I think there was about 3 times I came back and I got hurt and had to sit out for a couple weeks again. So getting over that was the hardest one I've ever had to deal with. And now that I know it's not going to bother me, I'm kind of back on riding focused mentality. So I'm glad I'm over
It
that.
had to be grueling because you had such a great season leading up to then and another title on the line. And even you gritted through the first round of the PBR finals in Edmonton last year, which was commendable in itself. But yeah, I can only imagine how much of a toll that took on your mind.
It did. My confidence was pretty much shattered because at the time last year, I felt like I couldn't do anything wrong. I was riding pretty much everything I got on. then have that injury. I rode the first bull in Edmonton, then bucked off the second bull, and then after that it was just like I can't ride nothing because I got no groin there to help me really. And then that carried on into this year for quite a while until I realized how to work around it and adapt because everybody's got injuries that change them. You have to adapt around it. I just had to figure out how to ride around that one.
So what did you do to get back to where you need to be?
I worked hard all winter with Brandon. Brandon gave me stuff, and then
Brandon Tommy, right?
yeah, and then I came back this spring, and Caitlin's, my wife's barrel horse, bucked me off pretty hard, and that was pretty mentally draining.
Damn barrel
having that
horses.
happen. But worked with Brandon quite a bit, and just got that mindset back that I needed.
It's kind of there's something in there about being embarrassed about falling off a barrel horse. I don't know what it is.
Oh man, I'd rather get one jumped.
It's almost like
than
falling
fall
off the
off a
victory
barrel.
lap horse at the rodeo.
Dakota's number 3 on the all-time barrel racing list.
Oh boy. Go ahead, Waze.
Well, Tanner, like we said before, it's your first CFR back in a long time from riding, and you're fighting the bull now. Talk a bit how much different it is your approach fighting the bull versus riding the bull.
Well, and it's been we were just figuring it out earlier. You said it's been
10 years.
2013 since you were here at the finals before too.
Yeah, I went started out obviously going to Canadian rodeos, and then when I got on the main PBR tour down south, I just really focused on that, and then stopped rodeoing. So it's been about 10 years since I've been back, but like you said, Wasey, the preparation, it's a lot. It's similar, right? It's bull riding. The only difference I would say would be when you're riding bulls, you have one that night, so it's just all in on that one bull that you have. When you're bullfighting, you got to kind of keep level through the whole thing, right? You can't get too pumped up, you can't be too calm, and you got to be able to handle everything that happens within 40 bulls in a night at a PBR. Here there's 12, right? The rodeos are different than the bull ridings. There's a lot more bulls at the PBRs than there is at a rodeo. So it's just the same stuff. I prepare the exact same way. Same physical fitness routines that I go through as I did as a bull rider. More cardio, I would say, I guess, when within bullfighting than compared to riding bulls. But same thing, ups and downs and injuries and different stuff like that. Bullfighting and bull riding are one and the same, really, in the sense of you're dealing with bulls and adrenaline and handling different situations.
One thing I've always wondered, and this could be a question for you and Ty, after you get run over, how do you get yourself back to level so you can kind of focus up at the task in hand? As I've always, you always see a guy get run over and they're a little bit fired up, but you still kind of got to get yourself back to that level of being able to focus on what you're doing.
Yeah, for me, it kind of just pisses me off, and then you get mad and you just game on, right? And sometimes, like Ty last night, right, when he took that shot after coming back from an injury, sometimes it's the best thing for you because you know that you're okay, right? And you're worried about your leg or you're worried about something, and that thing just totally annihilates you, and you jump back up and it's game on. Let's get the next one going. So you never want to get run over, obviously, or you never want to take a shot. And when we're doing the best job, nobody takes a shot. You don't even know we're out there, right? It's just flowing smooth and everybody's rolling in the directions that they need to roll in. And but same thing. It's just I think we're just made a little bit differently than your normal average person, right? And that's where you get that question all the time, like, well, how do you do this? Why do you do this? And for me and Ty and Dakota, I know this is all we know, right? So we don't know a different way or not to get on a bull or not to get run over or not to do what we do. So it just comes from a lifetime of committing yourself to this sport.
I saw Ty in the hotel last night, and that was the first thing he said. Yeah, I felt good. It was kind of good that I got hit like that because I knew I was going to be all right. That was the first thing he said.
Yeah, like I was, as weird as it sounds, I was like, I needed that. That it just kind of got my motor running and let me know that my knee and my leg's going to hold up another bull and we can keep going at them. And yeah, like Tanner said, when I get run over, I just get pissed off and then I want to get hold of everything. And it's just I don't really want to do anything else. I love fighting bulls, and I don't know if I could do another job other than that. So.
We talked, going from the bull riding side, everybody here has ridden bulls, but getting to this level, being selected for the Canadian finals, getting to work the big rodeos, it's not a given. What was it like for you, Ty, to get the first call to go to your hometown rodeo or go to these big rodeos, go to Ponoka, go the Calgary Stampede, these different events like this. What does it mean to get those calls and be able to fight at those big shows, having been involved with this for your whole life?
Oh heck, fighting Strathmore Rodeo was one of the biggest, one of the best things that ever happened to me, because it was my hometown, and it's just a pretty special rodeo. It's been around for a long time, and there's been a lot of very great names rode there and run the rodeo, and yeah, it was pretty cool. And then getting a call saying that you were selected by the top 12 bull riders 5 years in a row, it's pretty special. Like, I don't even really know how to put it into words, but yeah, it's a feeling of accomplishment, and just that them guys trust you with their life.
Well, and there's a lot. Like, I don't want to say it's kind of like you got to wait your turn for some of the deals, but like Scott and Jesse and Brett Monia, Randy Thompson,
Scotty Way.
Like, there's so many of these guys that had these positions for so long. It takes a guy, maybe a bit longer than you might hope to get into some of those jobs, but it doesn't change for a while either, right?
The Sandman, Dave Sandman.
The Sandman, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I've had my card for 16 years, and now it's 5 years. So 5 years I've had the finals, and I'm hoping to get a couple more, and then maybe move on to something else.
What would that be, do you think? Probably more on the bull side, I would think, right?
Well, the bulls, and then the film industry. I've been trying
Yeah.
to get into that a little bit, and it's been I've been having some luck with that, and getting some stunts, and meeting some people on that, and yeah, it's been great. And it's kind of a adrenaline type deal too. Like you're getting bucked off horses and jumping off stuff, and we got to fight bulls on this last show we worked on.
Just this week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, here.
And so that was cool. It's kind of, you get paid to do something you really enjoy doing, but being on the film industry, so
Just might pay better per bull.
it does pay a lot better. One night probably make more than I'll make the next 3 weeks in a row.
Tanner, same question though. Going from the bull riding side, it's not a given. You had to go back to the semi-pro kind of amateur rodeos and go earn your way back, right? Like, it's starting to square one. There's nothing was given.
Yeah, 100%. You have to, you got to go through all the motions of it. And for me, I just knew that if I did a good enough job, that was all that mattered, right? And I always think that the cream rises to the top. So once I got my shot, I knew that I was good at what I did, and I just had to show everybody else that I could do that. And these bull riders obviously seen that, voting me in, and knowing that I have the skills and the abilities to do it. So it's definitely something that you don't take for granted, and you appreciate very, very much. But it's all about you. It's all about how good you can do, and that's the only thing that hinders you. There's a lot of politics that people say, oh, he's this guy or he's that guy, that's why he's here. At the end of the day, these bull riders aren't going to vote you in because they're your friend. They're going to pick the guy that's going to put his life on the line to save you. And that was all I knew to do, was just do the best job that I could do, and that's what's got me to where I am.
Well, in Dakota, kind of same, but different. But you made the choice to come back to the rodeo side of things and focus on being in Canada after having a lot of success on the PBR tour down south. Talk a bit about that decision and how it's worked out for you so far.
Yeah, Donnie Joe was sitting over there since my first year out in school. He always told me, set one goal, accomplish it, move on to the next one. That's what I've done my whole career. I had my goal to win the CFR, and then accomplished that. And then I wanted to make bigger goals, and I wanted to get on to the Built for Tough tour, and went down there for a few years, and it went good when I was down there. Like, I don't regret how I went about things. I feel like it really took my riding up a step. And then it was getting draining, that travel, and I was really getting sour about it, and it was showing in my riding.
It's hard to make a living though too when you're spending $2,000 a weekend to make $1,500.
Yeah, exactly. It was big cost. Like, if I was in a different situation where I could live down there, it'd be a lot different, but I have a home up here. I want to be here during the week when I can. So it was getting pretty exhausting going back and forth, and wasn't getting fun anymore. And I was starting to miss my buddies up here, and came back, and it's been pretty much right where we left off. So much, having a bunch of fun riding again, and it kind of feel like I got a couple more years out of myself now, coming back home here and having fun again.
Well, it kind of showed this year at the Stampede. You were able to get the win there for the first time, and you had competed in the 4-round before with chances to win. Talk a bit about what changed to this year from years past.
This year was, during the week, it wasn't my best Stampede. Of other years, I was really hot during the week. Came into the Sunday just fire and felt like I couldn't do anything wrong, and then I did every time. But this year is kind of a little different, where I only got a couple checks and just kind of squeaked in there the last day. So I was kind of knew I had to stay focused on what I was doing. I wasn't getting real excited or just think I was just going to go at this thing. I was just staying focused on doing my job and not making any mistakes this year.
Well, let's talk a bit about some of those accomplishments. You've won at every single level. You've won Canadian titles. You've won PBR, Built for Tough events, which only a few guys have done in the past number of years, and they're both sitting in these chairs right now. And won the Stampede. Talk a bit about where all that stuff ranks on your highlights of your career.
Everything I've accomplished, I'd say they're all right at the same point, because they're all goals I've set for myself, and some of them took a little longer to get than others, but I'd say they're all right at the top with one another, because since I was a little kid, they're all kind of little things I wanted to do. So I'd have to say they're all pretty equal for myself.
What was it like though that day in Calgary this year and having to go? You guys, did you have to ride again, or did they just call it good there? I forget now. Everybody bucked off in the first Final Four. Then you guys had to go again. You tied.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of confusion, and they had to figure out what the rules were. Then you guys got to split the trophy right down the middle.
Yeah, that morning they put in a rule that we can only get on one ride off. So we already did that first ride off bowl. So we were done. I don't know what they were thinking about doing a tiebreaker, but they could have went either way, and it would have been. They went one way, would have been Shane. Another way would have been me. So we
Leg
both did our
wrestle
job.
in the arena.
Yeah, I go for Shane's weak side. So all of his shoulders and biceps are torn, so I think I'd have a good shot. Yeah, but I don't know. We both did our job. I was all right with splitting it. It was a fun week, and couldn't have gone any better.
So did you guys actually have to split the bronze in two, or did you guys each get one?
Yeah, Shane got the ass. I got the front. No, we both got one.
Tanner, you've got your show, the NFE podcast, and you're also doing the agency side of things right now too. What's the favorite show you've done so far as the podcast side of things, and then we got to get into the agency side of things a little bit too.
Yeah, for sure. The podcast was kind of just brought out of COVID, right? We were a little bit bored sitting at home and wanted to do it, just similar to you guys, right? You have a lot of opinions that maybe people don't want to hear, maybe people do want to hear, and so me and Jason Davidson with 3D Bull Riding and Scott Byrne jumped on there and kind of just used our years of getting to know different people within the sport. And for me, I just wanted to share people's stories similar to you guys, right? You get to see these guys when they're on TV or after they do their ride, and that's what you get to see of them. And I know lots of these guys behind the scenes and what it took for them to get to the highest level of the sport, and for the youth to understand what these guys go through. This wasn't given to them, right, as the top athletes in the world. So that's why I wanted to do it. I want to share people's stories and let people get to know these big name guys behind the scenes and what they do at home and that sort of thing, and be real about it, right? Similar to you guys. There's some swearing and some different stuff like that, but it's locker room vibes, locker room talk. And Ty Murray was a really cool one that we had on there, and but all of them, Stormy Wing, Douglas Duncan, Cowboy Cerrone, Donald Cowboy Cerrone, the UFC fighter, was a pretty cool one. Ryan Bingham. Just I know I get to know these guys, and I know that people would enjoy hearing from them, and just try to share that through the NFP podcast.
And Ted said talk a bit about the agency side of things now too. It's another feather in your cap that you got going on these days.
Yeah, when you only know one thing, you better stick with it. So bull riding, rodeo, it's what I know, and I just find different ways to stay involved with it. And some of these bull riders, they're really good at riding bulls, and maybe not so good at talking to different potential sponsors and different stuff like that. And I had some of the biggest sponsors throughout the years of Monster and different companies that were really big companies that I worked with. So just trying to fill that gap for sponsors and for athletes within the sport, and taking care of some of these guys now and helping them out in that sense, and just everyday life stuff, of business and different things like that. Just using what I've learned within the sport and outside of the sport to try to help some of these guys as well.
Time to get into some buck and bowl stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I want to start with Ty. So
start down the line. Work your way over.
So Prescott, Buck and Bulls, you and your dad Barry, you guys have teamed up with Vold Rodeo with Nansen and Jaden and the whole crew there. I got a couple things on the bull side of things. So I was kind of curious what some of your favorite bulls that you've raised have been. I don't know who they might be or what you're thinking, and then some of your least favorite, if there was some that were like kind of mean, like
In
they
the
were.
club, I hate that thing.
And he was one of my favorites because he
Me
had
too.
like cool horn. And
Yeah,
I think
kind of had one straight up. You rode him in
Tanner rode him one
Pinoca,
time, too.
yeah, for a bunch of points at the Jace Hardy one time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I like
And
that
it
thing.
kind of, well, that bull goes back to Rockstar. He was a Rockstar
Oh, really?
son. Yeah.
From Todd Braithwaite.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that your most favorite?
I'm thinking probably Already Platinum. I like Smoke Show.
Okay.
He was a good one.
Didn't I get on Already Platinum at Skylar's house one time?
You might have. I think he got on Gunpowder and Lead there that same day, too.
I don't remember that one, but
I think I do.
How'd that go?
I rode one of them. I rode a black muley though.
Is that the one
in
you shit your
first round.
pants on?
No, it's a different one. That was when I got my foot hung up in the flank.
No, I do remember you getting on Already Platinum there,
Yeah.
out of the right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I made a little ways, like
Out
maybe
of that old wood buck and
the
shoot.
really crappy shoot. Yeah.
I remember that.
At Skylar's Jackpot, and Wyatt Anton was announcing it. Remember that?
That would have been good.
I don't think I won any money. I don't know what happened, but I remember riding one in the first round. But Already Platinum was a bull that did really well, but then got kind of hurt before he got to go a super long ways.
Remember which bull you rode? The little muley.
Kickin'
They called
Chicken.
him. No, they called him Remember Me.
Oh, okay.
Gods, yeah.
I think it was Kickin' Chicken for a while or something, but maybe there was a
Might have
change or
Yeah, I
don't
remember
know.
that little muley with the white dot on his head.
Yeah.
And I remember you riding that bull that.
you were bullfighting, weren't you?
Yeah. Well, I think I was just starting to. I was hauling bulls and
Yeah.
I think I might even still been trying to ride them a little bit, but
It's a long time ago.
yes, sir.
But yeah, Already Platinum was a bit like a superstar in the making, but then kind of did he get hurt before he could really get going, or what was the
Yeah,
story?
he stifled himself and then kind of pinched a nerve in his back. So we ended up just breeding with him the last couple of years, and then he ended up going down to HD and Dylan Page. Ended up with him at the end.
Really? And did what ended up coming out of him down there that way?
I'm not sure what they all have out of them, but I know there's some heifers and stuff that are producing. And I think Matt Sharping had a bull that went to the ABBI deal finals one time out of them. And yeah, there was a few calves that were pretty decent.
What about where would like a bull like Proper Ripped rank as far as that goes, or is that one from Nansen? I don't know.
No, Proper Ripped is actually a calf out of Already Platinum.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's DNA'd as well. Yeah,
Really?
you bet.
Because that one they rode that one for a pretty good amount of points a couple times. He was a pretty solid bucker for a while.
Yeah, Chase rode him out at Ty Posbon's deal for 92.5 the one time, and I think
Yeah.
Tanner rode him for a high score somewhere. Where did you get on him?
PA. Yeah, PA got on him and rode him, and then he wiped me out.
I think that was actually the very first event we ever took that bull to is when Tanner got on him. Yeah,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Probably as a 3-year-old.
yeah, he was. There was him and Pirate Styles and Hippie Tricks and True Blood, I think, all went that year. Yep.
Really? And that so True Blood actually didn't Silvano at the World Finals one time? Didn't he end up down there? And he was
Cost
on
him
him.
the World Finals.
Yeah, cost him the world title that year, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, that was your JB one in
Yeah.
13.
True Blood cost him. I think he threw him off in the second round. He was the very first. So we went to the bull draft, and Silvano picked True Blood. He was the number one pick, and that's what Silvano picked.
Dang.
Yeah.
What are some of the most memorable bulls and some of the most memorable rides that you've seen over the years? You've seen tons, but I remember hearing different times where that you could talk about bulls for days. You knew everything about them from all the way back to the Carlisle bloodlines that everybody talks about, knows about.
I remember Renato Nunez when he rode Chicken on a Chain the first time in St. Louis. I was there for that, and that's one that really sticks out in my head. Because
Really?
old Renato, he just reared back and got to spurn, and that's back when Chicken on the Chain was the real deal, and everybody was scared of him. And
He was like 95 and almost 96
I think-
points.
I think he was 95 and a quarter or 95 and a half.
Yeah.
Can you remember, Tanner? What? Yeah, but that's probably one of the one that sticks out in my mind. And then Posey riding Proper Ripped at Okotoks. That
was a
one
rank
really,
bull ride.
yeah, he was 92.5 on him there, and that's one that really sticks out because, like Tanner said, we're all best friends and so close that that one, yeah. When I talk about great bull rides, that's one that really stands out for me.
I'm gonna guess one for you, Tanner. It's probably Evil Genius is probably one of your favorites from your pen, but not one that you guys raised, I think, right? He came out of California.
Yeah, we bought that bull from Don Kish at the ABBI sale during the World Finals one year, and that's kind of cool. He didn't turn out to be the the greatest superstar of a bucker. He ended up getting hurt and then didn't get to have a long career. But his calves now, which is why we wanted to get him in the first place, was to get that breeding program and put him on a bunch of cows. And so that's been good. And yeah, there's lots of those bulls, like Milky Chance was a bull of ours that went to the World Finals, and we sold him to J.W. Hart. And Bad Mammer Jammer was a good one that went to the World Finals. Little Shorty went to the World Finals as well. So anytime you get those bulls that you've raised or that you bought and then brought up to get to the elite, to the World Finals, and sell them down there, it's pretty cool. And then bulls that guys like to get on, I think, and then get good scores on. Those are always fun ones to have too. So they're like our family, as Ty knows. Ty knows more about bulls than probably anybody in the world. So you get to know them, you get to watch their attributes, you get to see them from a calf all the way to an adult, and then let them retire at your house. That's pretty cool. They're like our pets, they're like our dogs. So that's awesome.
I got to go on the names too.
Okay.
Tanner, on the way home from Saskatoon the other day, was telling me about some of the names he's got on some of these bulls for next week or for this weekend in Yorkton. What's your favorite one for this weekend?
Yeah, naming bulls is fun. I think I got probably 1,000 of them in my phone. We got some cool ones coming up, and lots of their names can go on like bloodlines. So like there's Evil Genius calves, so you got Evil Prodigy, and you kind of use that evil name or that genius name to do things. And then there's just some totally random ones. I got one, probably my favorite one going this weekend. I got Money Moves, which I like that name, and then Tumbleweed Tommy. Tumbleweed Tommy's out this weekend. Young Gravy, that's a new one that's coming up too. Whoopsie Hustle, and that one comes after we were fencing last week, and Stefan Tanita was with us, and we gave him the nickname Whoopsie. And he didn't hustle all that well on the fence line, so I named a calf Whoopsie Hustle. So hopefully he draws him and can win on him this weekend in Yorkton.
What are some of your favorite bull names, Ty?
Well, I like Kendall, my fiance's daughter. She kind of does most of the naming for me now. We called Nansen up last week, and she gave him a couple names. He sent a video of a real good young calf we got coming up, and she said she wanted to call him Bow Before Me. So
that's a cool name.
That's a good one. So
damn,
that's the one that we should probably start watching out for here in the next couple of years. He's looking like he's really going to shine through.
Well, Dakota, what about you, Dakota?
Yeah,
bucket bulls are a big part of what you guys do.
He's got a smirk on his face.
The wheels are turning.
No, my bull herd's pretty young yet, so I'm hoping in a couple of years we can come back and talk about this then.
You gotta have like a list of bull names. Like, what's the number one name on the list?
Can't give them out. Well, come on. You guys are sitting right here.
Yeah, we'll steal it.
We'll talk a bit about the bull raising bulls side of things for you guys too. Your wife's been helping out a lot now too. You've been sending her off to futurities to get things blocked, and she has some of her own now too.
Yeah, it's been actually pretty fun at home. There's a group of friends at home from town who come out when I buck stuff, and I don't even do the flanking anymore, so I just come out and hang out, and everybody else does the work. So it's actually cool, and everybody else is showing interest too. It's kind of actually getting to be a big thing. Like Ty said, Kendall and his wife.
My fiance and Kristen's daughter, they're getting into it, and they're flanking bulls, and I usually just run the back bends and kind of let them take the show now because they really enjoy it, and if they enjoy it, it just makes me enjoy it more because it's always funner when you get to do things with your family and your kids, and yeah, my dad's always there videoing and stuff, so yeah, it's kind of a family ordeal, and it keeps us all tight.
Another thing I wanted to ask, kind of for the three of you guys, there's a lot of practice pens and stuff hosted at all your guys' houses. Like, that's part of kind of a giving back side of thing and raising those new next generation competitors. Talk a bit about how important that is for you to get the next group of people involved.
Oh, it's huge. That being said, I remember watching Tanner fight bulls at my house probably 15 years ago. I ended up breaking a leg that day too at my house, and they said Josh Burks and there was Pawsey and Bo Hill, and there was a bunch of them still wanting to get on. And Tanner's like, "Well, hell, I'll do it," and got out there and started making rounds. I think you might have even been there that day, Ted.
I don't remember now, but maybe. I remember Tanner fighting bulls for me at Skylar's house one time too.
Remember, Tanner got kicked out of high school rodeo one year, and he fought bulls at the Weyburn High School rodeo just so he could come hang out. Yeah, that was a fun weekend.
Tanner gets kicked out of a lot of places.
Sometimes.
Oh, I got a theory. About Saskatchewan and bull riders from Saskatchewan. So the last probably 15 years, we've had Aaron Roy, yourself, Tanner, Dakota, Jared Parsonage.
Me.
Oh yeah, Wasey. But But it seems like the guys from Saskatchewan, and like, no offense to the Alberta guys, but there's been a kind of a higher level of competition from the guys from Saskatchewan going to the NFR and going to the, Jordan Hansen made the finals out of Alberta, like made the NFR, made all three. But like, is there anything to that, or is it just kind of how it's went the last little while, or do you credit some of that to the CCA kind of things a little bit with the way that the steer riding transitions the guys to bull riding, or like, is there anything to that, or is just luck on what's going on?
I don't know what you guys think, but my opinion is that we all pretty much grew up together at the same time. We had that little competitive circle between us since we were 8, 9 years old, and we've been fighting like that since that age. We were competitive from day one, so I think that really helped push each other to get there the whole time. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think that we had to travel, I guess, from Saskatchewan to Alberta in the first place as the WPBs or everything that was going on at that time. So I think that Vince Northrup's another guy you got to throw in the hat there. That he made the World Finals as well. But Saskatchewan guy,
Matt Roy too, before Aaron, I guess 100%.
Too. Yeah, there's tons, and there's great bull riders from everywhere, right? But I think with the guys like me in Dakota, I think we had to travel when we were kids, and then we just kept doing that. We just didn't get in a comfort zone of staying in one place, and that took us to the south and took us wherever we needed to go. It didn't matter where we were at. We just went for it, and kept rolling and going to the highest level. So I think, I don't know. I think it's just attributes of what you get. But I think it's kind of cool that you brought that up, like the CCA thing, and myself and Dakota and Oren Larson, Ty Tipitat. There's a whole group of us
Wyatt
that are,
Hayes on the McLeod boys. Like,
yeah,
they all came through that.
All that same kind of age group. So they must have done something right within the junior ranks to keep us within the sport, whether it be in bull riding or bareback riding or timed events, whatever. But I think that, like proper stock and rising and moving to those next levels, I think they probably did it the right way, I guess, because there's a lot of us that I know are our age group that are at the highest levels now, which is pretty cool to see. And like Dakota said, you got that camaraderie and that kind of that family of like watching these guys that you rolled with when you were 5 years old, and Dakota talking about the competitions, right? I wanted to beat Dakota more than anything, and Dakota wanted to beat me, the same way.
Same way.
Healthy competition, and I think it just kept rising us and wanting to be the champ.
All boats rising on a high tide.
It was one of those things too. You had to drive so far to the rodeos, you didn't have a choice to do good.
You can't stay off. You can't fall off.
You can't fall off. Your parents
and I guess it goes over the years too, right? Because you've got, in the 80s, you've got Daryl Mills from BC wins the world. You got Cody Snyder from Alberta wins the world in the bull riding side of things, and you got the Glenn Keeley, BJ Cramps, like that kind of early. Ruben Galenzi, Austin Beasley,
Kelly Armstrong, Wayne Joyle. There was a bunch of them boys that we forget about.
Kind of just different spots. Donnie
Joe.
Yeah.
All the Johansson.
Donnie Joe's a CCA champ too.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's it doesn't matter where you're from. It's the attributes and the drive that you have. Like, even the Brazilians nowadays, they talk about how, great the Brazilians are. And it's the same thing. It's just they put in the time. If you put in the time, you put in the effort, you give it everything you have and go all in, you're going to have success, right? So I think that's what it is. It doesn't matter where you're from. It's what you do.
Starting with Dakota, one thing I wanted to ask is it's been a topic for us for probably the last 2 months or 6 months even, when kind of the shortage we're seeing of the next generation of competitors. Like, what do we need to do as a whole to help foster and bring up more rough stock competitors?
I don't. It's hard to say. Like Tanner said, the stock is the main thing here. Like, with everybody at the stock, like the feed and everything, it's getting tough for guys to keep them lower end animals. Like I know when I started, there was guys that had them animals kicking around just for us little guys to keep going on. And I don't blame the contractors now. Who wants to be the bottom end guy? Everybody wants to have the best.
Hey, ain't cheap, man.
Yeah, exactly. So there's still is them few contractors around to keep them ones for kids, but I think that's the main thing. Really, this year I had my first steer riding school. And we had old roping steers that were just awesome. There's 8-year-olds up to 12-year-olds, and just wanted to keep getting on because they couldn't get hurt, and they knew they weren't going to get thrown off. And that's, I think, the biggest thing for all of us really is that stock thing for rough stock guys.
Tanner or Ty, anything to add?
Yeah, I think there's guys like Justin Volts that has a pen of like bigger rope and steers that is getting back to where these kids can just get on a jump kicker and get their confidence up instead of getting killed off on an 85-point cow or a bull, big bull. And just like Butter said, same as myself, we don't keep around bulls that aren't good, which is hard for guys to get that practice on. But yeah, I think it's just I think it's all about the kids too, and just the same thing I was saying earlier about the drive that they have and the want to do it. Right, we would drive 7 hours in the winter to go to Jimmy Lawrence's old PMU barn that had no heat and get on bulls and just keep getting on bulls, right? And they were buckers. They were the real deal. They were Quam bulls. And so, I think that we had that drive, that group that I was with and Butters, to want to do it. And I think that's just like society and everything now. If you want it, you can go and get it and do it. But there's not a lot of that out there anymore. And hopefully we can get back to getting these kids fired up and staying in the sport and keep this thing alive.
I remember going to 4 or 5 practices a week when I first started fighting bulls. You'd go to Morley, Olds, Brooks, Siksika, sometimes down to Fort McLeod. Like, if you really want it, there's nothing stopping you because there's places to go and get it done.
I think we can wrap her up.
Yeah,
Waste, anything else?
So. Oh, I think that's good. Well, I guess down the line, starting with Ty, what are you most looking forward to for the rest of the CFR?
Hopefully just staying healthy.
Here's to that, Ty.
Here's to that, man. Tanner?
I'm just looking forward to the camaraderie and just being back at the CFR. It's been a long time and get to see a lot of people that I haven't seen in a lot of years. So that's fun. And like Ty said, staying healthy and making sure that these bull riders stay healthy.
Absolutely.
Dakota?
Same.
Oh, come on.
Staying healthy. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been here. I've been trying to work to get back here for a few years, so I'm happy to be here finally. I'm just excited for the rest of the week.
I guess we got to talk about, just quickly, Edmonton next week, too. That's going to be a fun week. We got the Posabon event, Thursday night fundraising dinner there before the finals kick it off.
But Dakota's in the running for another title.
Yeah, exactly. Just talk about that a little bit before we wrap it up.
This year was kind of a different year. I wasn't really winning everything and riding everything this year. Kind of the last couple of years it seemed like nothing could buck me off. I've been ups and downs all year, kind of been floating from 1st to 10th, 5th, back down to 10th. It's just things this last little while has kind of been working a little better. Just been plucking away quietly, and hopefully I can keep it going into next week.
Tanner, Ty?
Yeah, I think it's just looking forward to Edmonton. It's always a great event there, the PBR Canada Finals, and it's really cool this year because, like Dakota said, 1st to 10th, there's 15 guys in the running that could win that thing, right? So you've seen Cody Coverchuk come from behind last year and win it after Dakota's injury. So it's always fun, just like you're in Red Deer. There's all the races that you can follow along with. The bulls are great. That arena in Edmonton's super fun, and the Ty Posabon Foundation banquet to kick things off, and just like this place, it's just the accumulation of the whole year, and it all kind of comes down to that last weekend, and time to enjoy it and take it in, and know that you had a successful year and have fun with it.
I love going to bull riding. Bull riding is don't get me wrong, I love rodeos too, but when you get to watch 45, 50 bulls a night, that just makes it a little better. So I'm just excited to be voted back for another year and get to go up there and work with the boys and keep the boys safe. So I'm just excited.
Outstanding. Well, thanks everybody for being here today. Again, Ty Prescott, Tanner Byrne, Dakota Butter. He's my co-host, Wasey Anderson. I'm Ted Stovin. Thanks for joining us all. This afternoon, we're back here at 3:30 tomorrow afternoon. Rodeo starts in the Peavemart Centrum at 6 p.m. Buckle presentations later on.
Presentations. Cody Lamb's coming up next. Doing
Yes.
some songs. If you like cowboy music, sung by a cowboy, stick around for that.
Come check it out.
Cowboy Sh watch party.
Yeah, all
That's
the things.
happening soon. So there's no shortage of things to do at the CFR.
You betcha. Thanks everybody, everyone for joining us today. See you all later on. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.